A few hours later, the sun rose and the streets were bustling with people, some heading to their jobs, others chatting with friends. There was a stall selling masks. A hooded man approached to look at the merchandise, while the vendor, with a smile, suggested he buy one. The man bought a mask, turned his back to the vendor, and walked away. With a friendly smile, the vendor thanked him and waved goodbye. The man was none other than our boy, Bikir. He began to walk through the area with his arms crossed. He couldn't help but smile, feeling surprise. Just as he expected, the streets of the imperial capital were packed with people since it was the weekend. Something caught his attention, making his eyes widen with curiosity. Wondering what was happening, his gaze fixed on the temple, which was teeming with people. This was the place, the Quo Vitus Temple, the second branch of the Old Testament faction. A priest placed a sign on the street and announced a special offer. For that day only, people could repent and get forgiveness for their sins at half price, everyone's attention fixed on him, making them feel somewhat surprised. Bikir decided to go take a look, and once he got closer to the temple, he saw a woman and a man leaving. With a smile, the man mentioned that he had been tormented by guilt all this time, but now he felt completely relieved. The woman grew curious and, with a serene expression, asked if it was because of what had happened some time ago. Flashing a remorseless smile, he confirmed he was referring to when he was driving the carriage drunk and ran over that child. Hearing this, Bikir stopped walking, his body beginning to tremble. Not knowing if this was true, the woman recalled that the child was said to have died. The man held out his hand and, as his eyes shone, he admitted that the child's death had been bad luck and that it had bothered him so much he couldn't even sleep well. He had come to repent because the indulgences were on sale. With a wicked smile, the man added that he had bought a very expensive one, so he no longer had any obligation to compensate the victim's family, and that this was a great thing. A smile spread across the woman's face as she declared that everything was fine then and that, in any case, her beloved was a really good person. Even the pendant to Krabia felt somewhat confused. With an uncertain expression, it asked Bikir if those were really members of the human race. It pointed out that, aside from their appearance, they didn't seem very different from demons and honestly questioned what the world was coming to. At the temple entrance, there was a long line. People wanted to take advantage of the offer to buy indulgences. There was a man standing at the entrance reading from a list. Bikir approached and began to observe the man in silence. Lost in thought, it was our boy's turn and his eyes began to shine with seriousness. In front of the statue of Jesus sat a priest, who, with a kind smile, extended his hands. He noted that Bikir had been waiting a long time and asked him what crime he had committed and if he was looking for any particular indulgence. Bikir began to stare intently at the priest and asked him if, since one could repent for past sins, it was also possible to repent in advance for sins he would commit in the future. The priest reached a hand toward our boy and, with a cheerful expression, assured him that all of this was possible if he bought indulgences in advance, asking what sin he was planning to commit. The priest didn't seem human and continued to wear a smile capable of making anyone uncomfortable. Bikir rested his hands on the table and, in a serious tone, replied that it was something truly tremendous, an atrocious crime. At first, the priest was a bit confused, but then he clasped his hands together and, with a confident expression, assured him that he had come to exactly the right place. He warned, however, that if it was an atrocious crime, the price would be extremely expensive and asked if that would be all right. For now, he invited him to the exclusive lounge for VW Ips to wait while he had a cup of tea. The priest grew curious and asked him exactly how heavy the sin was for him to be seeking such an expensive indulgence. Bikir pondered in silence, showing no expression, and then he lied, saying that he was going to kill the neighbor's pig. With a surprised expression, the priest asked if he was calling that an atrocious crime. Our boy was sincere and mentioned that a pig was also a living being, and that taking a life was a sin. The priest's kind smile vanished, and his eyes began to glow with rage as he gritted his teeth hard. He snapped, asking if Vikir thought he had nothing better to do just because he saw him smiling. In front of the temple entrance was a long line, waiting to pay to have their sins forgiven. The priest had seen all kinds of sinners, from men who ran people over with their carriages to those who set houses on fire, but this was the first time someone had come all this way for wanting to kill a single pig. With a furious gaze, the priest sighed and decided to put the seal on our boy's indulgence, considering that the fact he had come all this way for the life of a simple piglet was unusual enough. He crumpled the paper into a ball and threw it at our boy, ordering him to hand over the gold and get out. He warned him not to sin next time and not to come back to this place either. Bikir showed no emotion, knowing deep down the secrets of the church. Grabbing the indulgence paper, our boy thanked the priest and left the place, his attention fixed on the paper. It, under the title Indulgence, declared that it absolved all the sins of the devout believer. Furthermore, it specified that the indulgence was issued and guaranteed by the Old Testament, and that its forgery could be punished. He wasn't surprised at all since, just as he expected, a faint demonic scent could be perceived from both the temple and this indulgence. With a serious look, Dikrabir revealed that it too could clearly feel the scent of the sixth corpse. Bikir was sure it wasn't inside this temple, but he knew it was related. It had to be somewhere in the imperial capital. Just then, a hooded woman in white walked past Bikir. Noticing this, his attention fixed on her and his eyes widened in surprise. Before the woman could feel his gaze, Bikir was quick and hid behind a pillar. The woman paid no mind and continued on her way. Bikar's eyes filled with confusion as according to him, she was supposed to be at the academy right now. And he wondered why she was here. Dikrabir grew somewhat confused and peeked around the corner to see who this woman was. The woman had blonde hair and her eyes were filled with worry. She was Dolores. She got into the long queue in front of the temple and, closing her eyes, let out a sigh of relief. She began to look at the ground with an uncertain expression, wondering if it wouldn't have been better to just walk in confidently and say she was just looking around. She considered that, if anything, the fact that she, a saint, was infiltrating the temple in this way might seem even more suspicious. She clenched her fists tightly, certain that no one would recognize her, as her disguise was perfect. The other women in the queue couldn't help but feel a bit confused as they noticed her expression. Dolores began to observe the people in the area carefully. Realizing that all these people had come to this temple of the Old Testament faction to buy indulgences. Her eyes began to shine with sadness since, after Quilty of House Indulgencia, no. After Dantolian died, even though they had made public the reckless indulgence business of the Old Testament faction through the exposed ledgers, these acts were still thriving so blatantly. She knew that at that moment, Quo Vadis was in complete chaos, with the Old Testament and New Testament factions in conflict. Everyone's attention was focused there. As a result, pseudo-religions were proliferating throughout the empire. She began to imagine the Quo Vadis temple, wondering how the Old Testament faction, the cause of this conflict, managed to maintain its wealth even though the Indulgencia family, which served as its financial backbone, had disappeared. She started to look at the ground, her eyes shining with sadness. She wondered if it was just from selling indulgences or if they had found a new source of funding. She had infiltrated to find this out, but she still had no answers. While she was distracted, someone announced that they had arrived. The crowd gathered eagerly, as they couldn't believe they had arrived. Someone wearing boots stepped out of the carriage. It was Cardinal Humbert of the Rune Order and the Old Testament faction of Quo Vadis, who, with a kind smile, began to greet everyone. Noticing that Cardinal Humbert was here, Dolores's eyes widened in fear, leaving her in shock. She got nervous and without a second's hesitation, she left the queue and decided to leave this place. Cardinal Humbert noticed her strange behavior and felt a bit confused. Dolores fled the place without looking back, while Cardinal Humbert stared at her intently in silence. Humbert approached one of the priests and with a serious look, told the lieutenant that something had been bothering him. He instructed him that, before entering the temple, they should take a quick look around the vicinity first. The priest closed his eyes and bowed his head before Cardinal Humbert, accepting His Eminence's order. Humbert turned his back to the crowd and prepared to enter the temple. The people grew somewhat confused, asking His Eminence where he was going and begging him to grant them his grace as well. Several guards appeared to prevent the people from getting close to Humbert. At the same time, Dolores was getting away from the place. She had climbed to the second floor of the temple. She clenched her fists tightly and panicked, as Humbert was her father. She couldn't help but feel furious. For after discovering the connection between the demon Quilty and her father's indulgence list, the conflict between her, a believer of the New Testament, and him, a cardinal of the Old Testament, had deepened. She was so distracted that she wasn't looking where she was going and bumped into a hooded man. She fell on her butt to the ground and apologized, explaining that she was walking without looking ahead and that the impact was so hard she thought she'd run into a wall. As the sunlight illuminated the place, the man began to stare at her in silence. Not long after, two guards carrying axes discovered them. One of them started pointing at them, shouting that there were suspicious people there and ordering them to be arrested. Dolores, who was on the ground, turned around and her eyes widened in surprise. Noticing this, the man grabbed Dolores's hand, making her feel somewhat confused, not knowing what was happening. Without wasting a single second, the man grabbed Dolores and began to flee without looking back. The guards started chasing them, ordering them to stop. As the sun lit up the inside of the temple, they ran up a set of stairs, and not long after, the guards did too. They weren't going to give up until they caught them. The guards managed to corner them, gritting their teeth hard and with a furious expression, they ordered them not to move. Not long after, Cardinal Humbert came up the stairs and with a serious gaze, he ordered them to take off their hoods and reveal their identities. With a smile, the hooded man mentioned that the welcome greeting at the Old Testament faction's temple was quite peculiar. With a smile, they removed their hoods. One was an old man and the other a young man. Seeing this, Humbert's eyes widened in surprise, leaving him somewhat confused. The tall, brown-haired man began to stare at Humbert in silence, while on the other hand, the old man started to smile and told Cardinal Humbert that it had been a long time since they had seen each other. While they were talking, hidden in the stone window frame above were the hooded man, now wearing a dog mask, and Dolores. It was none other than Vikia. Dolores began to watch intently and couldn't help but blush. The old man began to smile. Cardinal Humbert's eyes started to glow with seriousness. Bekir showed no emotion, and Dolores felt somewhat confused and surprised. This is the end of the video. If you want to see the next part, then subscribe to our channel.